What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, this is Blue Giant Media, and we're here to connect through gaming. Today we're going to take a look at Crusaders Thy Will Be Done. This is by Seth Jaffe and published by Tasty Minstrel Games. We're going to take a look at the quick overview of the rules, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to let you know what I do like, what I don't like, and who may or may not like Crusaders Thy Will Be Done. Here I have Crusaders set up for 2 players. The last thing I'm going to be doing here is showing you the Templar orders, or the order, this is the Knights Templar. The orders of the Knights have different kind of special abilities. So I'm going to remove one of these action tokens that says they're going to have 11 instead of 12, and this one's going to have 10 instead of 12. So I'm going to choose kind of where I want to remove them from. Let's see, I want to make sure that I can build first. I probably won't need to do that one for a while. And I probably won't be doing that one for a while. And then over here, likewise, I'll go ahead and remove one from there. Okay, so now I'm all set up. What you're going to be doing on your turn is, as you're working towards getting the most points, is you're going to be choosing one of 2 different things that you're going to do. And 90% of the time, you're going to be doing the first one, which there's many ways to do. So first thing you can be doing is resolving one of the actions that you have here in your wedge, in your hexagon, in your rondelle. The other thing that you could do is you can upgrade one of the pieces of your wedge. So what you could do is you could choose one of these and flip it over. So for instance, this one right here, it says muster. Muster is one of the, oh, sorry, this should be flipped over. One of the actions that you can do is muster, but I can go ahead and flip this wedge over. Now, whenever I'm taking the action from this wedge, I can choose to either muster or influence or a combination of the 2. And then whenever you do take that upgrading a wedge action, you can choose any of the different wedges, not just the one that was flipped, and you can redistribute the action tokens from that wedge. So I could then take these if I wanted and move them right around the circle. The other thing that this character has a special power to be able to skip over a wedge. Normally you have to just move in a, putting one token in each space as you go around clockwise, but I could choose to skip over one with this player's power. So let's go ahead and say that that was that player's turn. This player over here, their special ability is they can place 2 in a position as they move things around. So I could, for instance, say I want to take the build action. I could take 2 of these, and normally building is going to cost what it shows in the hexagon over here of the building that you're trying to build. So let's say this player is going to try and build a castle. Normally it's going to cost 3, but because their knight is on this space here that shows a discount of 1 for either building farms or castles, I only have to spend 2. So I have 2, and I can go and I can put them both onto muster instead of having to distribute them around. And when I build that castle, I'm going to place it on that space, and the first castle comes with a knight. So you have 2 knights as a bonus, so you can start moving them independently around the board. Whenever you build, you're going to get points based off of the level of the build action that you took. So this is your level 1 castle, so you'll go ahead and get 1 point. Then we can come back over here. Maybe this player decides that they want to build, their farmhouse. Okay, so they'll go like this, and go ahead and skip that one over. Then they're going to, because it normally costs 3, they get to pay 2 because there's a discount there. The farmhouse then makes it so whenever they take the muster action, they have an additional 1 strength to that action. So as you build most of these buildings, it's going to uncover things that increase the strength of your actions. So there we've seen 2 different build actions. Now let's see what some of the other options are. We can come over to this character and maybe they decide that they want to muster. So to muster, here, this is going to be a strength 3 muster, which strength 3 is what you need for the level 1 muster. When you do that, you flip it over. That is going to increase the strength of your crusade actions in the future. So then we can come over here and let's go ahead and drop 2 on that one and 1 on crusade. Actually, no, we'll do 1 and 2. Okay, and I've got a good reason for that. Okay, then over here, maybe this player decides that they're ready to move into position for something. Now, to move, there's a couple ways you can do it. So let's go ahead and say that we're going to do this. This is going to be a strength 3 move. To move anywhere is going to take just 1 movement point per hex, except when you are trying to move out of a region that has an enemy in it. So let's say right here, I'm going to spend 3. I'm going to go 1 movement, and then it's going to take 2 to move out of that space into, where did this come from? Should be over here. So it's going to take 3 total travel, 3 total movement points to get into that space. And then I will go ahead and place 1 here, and 1 there, and 1 there. Okay? Then we'll come over here. This player is similarly going to do, they're going to go ahead and drop 1 here, and then maybe they'll go ahead and drop 2 on their influence action. So they're going to move 3 spaces. They'll go 1, 2, and then move their other knight there. So you can split your movement between knights. We'll come over here. Then this player is going to take their influence action. That will let them take points equal to the strength of the action. So they're going to skip 1 with their power. Come over here. They did a strength 2 influence action. That's going to give them 2 points. 1, 2. Then we'll come over here, and I forgot to mention, when they did their muster, it was a level 1 muster, should have also given them 1 point. So whenever you do the muster or build, you're going to take points based off the strength of that action. And then likewise, when you do influence, you'll take points based off the strength of that action. Then we'll come over here. This player is going to then do an attack. Now, the brown tokens are always going to cost 6 to attack them. Strength 6 Crusade. So here I have strength 5 plus 1 for my mustered troops. That's a strength 6 action. Then I can go ahead and I'll do 1 there, 1 there. Then we'll go ahead and drop 2 on build and 1 on the next muster. Okay, so we did a strength 6 attack. Now we get to take this token, and the brown tokens are also different in that on the back side they show you what you're going to get. You can either take 3 points or you can take what is shown there. This shows to build a temple or church for free. So let's go ahead and take that. Go ahead and get a free church, and you still get points based off the level of that. So it's a level 1 church that we built for free, gives us 1 point. And then you're going to hang on to that token because at the end of the game, whoever has the most kills for each of the different types of enemy is going to get 5 points. Whoever this has the second most is going to get 2 points. Alright, so that is going to be them. We'll come over here. This player is close to being able to do that, but they're going to go ahead and muster. So they'll go here, and then they're going to skip over Crusade because they're not going to need that again next turn. They use a strength 2 muster plus the 1 from there, gives them strength 3 muster to flip that over, and gives them 1 point. So we've seen movement, we've seen building, we've seen influence, we've seen mustering, and we've seen crusading. Those are the 5 different actions, and then you can flip over the wedges and redistribute for the other action. You're going to keep playing until all of the points are depleted. The amount of points is based off of the number of players. So here, this side of the board is for 2 players only, and it shows that you're going to need 140 point or prestige chips in order to show the timer for the end game. On the back side of the board, it has the 3 and 4 player, which has more points necessary to trigger the end game. You'll also see some of these over here. These give you either discounts like the beginning or bonuses for building certain types of buildings. So if you were to build a farm in this space, then you would get 2 bonus points on top of the normal bonus that you would get for building a farm. The other thing that can happen is if you are, let's say this player was on this space right here. When they took their crusade action, this has a variable strength. These are the Slavs. So you look over here, and at the beginning of the game, they start with strength 3. Each time they are defeated, they go up in strength, though. And what their strength is also how many points you're going to get when you defeat them. So the first time you defeat them, it's going to cost a strength 3 crusade, and you'll get 3 points, and then they'll move up in strength. The next person pays 4 and gets 4 points, and they move up in strength. And other than that, you will get all kinds of bonuses, and at the end of the game, you will get most of the points from, will already be showing, but you'll also then get points for whoever's defeated the most of the 3 different types of enemies. And then also the level 4 buildings of each type have a way to score points. So the castles are going to give you points 4 points for each set of 3 different enemies that you've defeated. The churches are just going to give you 6 extra bonus points outright. Then the farms are going to give you points for each mustered troop and each knight that you have unlocked. And then the library is going to give you 4 points for each level 4 building that you have constructed, including itself. And generally, the libraries are going to give you points, or give you bonuses to building. The farms, points for mustering, because you got to feed those troops. The church is going to help spread your influence, and the castles give you more knights and movement, and then a little bit more fighting. So they're a little bit balanced, and that is going to be pretty much the game. Now that you have a pretty good idea of how to play through Crusaders I Will Be Done, I want to let you know what I do like about the game. First of all, I think that the rondel mechanism is immensely satisfying. You can plan ahead, but you don't necessarily get mired down in it. I have played Trajan, which I know this initially got a lot of kind of comparisons to because they're both rondel-based games, but I actually like the way that the rondel is set up in this one better, maybe just because it's more intuitive and simpler. You can go ahead and criticize me for that, but it's my taste. I prefer being able to, where I pick up from is what is going to enact that action and determine the strength of that action, rather than where I finish. So I think it's just a little bit more accessible, and I enjoy it a little bit more. It makes it a little bit more free-flowing, a little bit quicker, a little bit less analysis paralysis, and I really find it satisfying picking up, deciding like, okay, which one of these things do I want to do? And especially because some of the spots that you have, depending on whether you upgrade them or not, allow you to split or choose which of the 2 different actions you want to actually use, which I think is really, really fun. I really enjoy that. The scaling of the combat as the game goes on is really interesting. I find it interesting that the Saracens, you fight them and they always cost 6, but you can get a really good benefit from them. Early on in the game, that's really desirable, and as the game goes on, it can also be really desirable because now you're building buildings that could have cost quite a bit to get, but at the same time, some of these other different people that you could fight could be worth a lot more points. Really interesting balance. You can also decide which of the different building types you want to focus on, or whether you just want to focus on mustering or conquest. There's so many different ways that you can score points, those different paths to victory, that it's really, really, really fun. I really enjoy this game quite a bit. It's been a game that I've taught to relatively new gamers, and they really enjoy it, and I, as someone who's played many games, also find it very enjoyable. So the accessibility is there, the simplicity is there, it's streamlined, but the depth is there too, because there are multiple ways to score points, multiple ways to kind of build towards victory. Really, really fun, and I'm just going to keep saying that, but I'll try not to say it too repeatedly. So, since I'm gushing, I'm just going to move on to some of the things I don't like. There's not many. One, I wish that I had gotten the deluxeified version. Not that the cardboard and the production quality is still great, but the player mats themselves. Seeing the deluxe version, how you can set the different wedges for your rondel in, and they are set in there so they don't get bumped around. They're set in kind of that recessed area. I really wish I had that. It can sometimes be just a little bit fiddly if you bump it and you move those wedges around. You're always, especially if you're OCD, which I'm only just a tiny bit, I guess. But trying to actually get all that stuff to remain tight and close to each other, those wedges to stay in contact with each other, is something that I would like. And the recessed board, while they aren't necessarily in contact with each other, they're always in close proximity. And I don't know, it's a small thing, but I would like it quite a bit. And then, of course, metal coins are just really nice. The production quality overall is still very, very good, but I'm not super big on the artwork. It's different, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I love the color blue so much. It's just there's too much red and orange, and maybe it's just because it's a different color palette than is frequently used in games. I guess it's really minor, but the color palette's not the most palatable to me. Sorry. So those are really the only things that I don't really like about the game. So people who will like this game are going to be people who enjoy rondel type mechanisms, people who enjoy games that kind of have that engine building aspect to it with multiple paths to victory. If you enjoy any form of combat, this is a light combat. It's not super heavy. It's not in your face. It's extremely light. It's, do you have the power? Go ahead and use it. And there's not going to be any punishment that you ever get during a battle. So maybe that turns into a little bit of a thing that some people may not like, is both the simplicity of the rondel. Maybe you really like Trajan having to brain burn about how to set up where you finish to get the actions going for you. So maybe you want a little bit more of that. Maybe you are going to be dissatisfied with the simplicity of the rondel, being able to just choose, oh, well, I see these 6 options. Of these 6, this is what I want to use. You can think ahead to decide, okay, and then it's going to drop them here, which will then get this one strong enough to do the next action you want to do. You can think ahead, but you don't need to think ahead as badly as you do in Trajan. And the simplicity of that combat, where there's no punishment, there's no drawback, there's not going to be anything that makes you have to grind out a victory. It is simple mathematics of, yeah, I've got enough, I can beat this guy. That's it. So if you're looking for a little bit more of that, if you like dice rolling, if you like a little bit of that risk, a little bit of that question of whether it's going to pay off, it's not there. It's deterministic, which I really like, but some people may not. So if you like light but still deep, it's sort of that simplexity. It's simple in concept, but complex in how deep you want to go into it. I wouldn't call it a complex game, but it has that element to it. Very accessible, plenty to think about it as well. It's not very long, it's quick. I really like the game, so I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go out and take a look at Crusaders. Thy Will Be Done. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll go ahead and take the spotlight off of Crusaders, and if you want to know more about the game, take a look in the description section where you'll find my setup and playthrough so you get a little bit more detailed idea of the rules, and you can also find a link there to my unboxing of the game, as well as a link to macronovagames.com where you can buy Crusaders and a whole bunch of other great games. Until next time, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment in the comment section if you have any feedback for me. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and have a wonderful day.